The villain of this documentary is Jerry Krause, who was the GM of the Bulls.
Yeah.
Now, the owner of the Bulls is Jerry Reinsdorf.
Yes.
I'm assuming at the time Jerry was the owner and president, meaning the president of a team handles things that are not only basketball related, but just all things related with the team, right? The GM handles only the basketball side of things.
Right.
So a GM will, obviously the president has say.
Yeah.
He signs off on the decisions of the GM, but the GM is like, who's going to coach, who are we going to get to play on the team, etc. I believe the president is not only all those things, but also how are we going to market the team? How are we going to, find ways to sell fucking jerseys? What are we going to do for these nights? There are other things that are involved with the president. So Krause is, I guess, the villain here. Krause is very interesting and kind of unfairly painted, in my opinion.
Kind of at best, I think.
Okay, we'll go into it.
Yes.
You tell me why. Go.
Now, I'm curious to know why you think what was unfair. And I think I know, but I'm still curious.
The biggest knock on Krause is, in my opinion, the biggest thing you could take away from Krause is he didn't draft Jordan.
Okay.
So the linchpin for all of the other decisions that he made is Jordan, right?
Yeah.
He is the core of that team. He's what makes that team win. He's the engine that makes the car drive.
Yeah.
You still got to build a team around him.
Yes.
Jordan didn't win before Krause.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, he had other people on that team. He had other coaches, but they couldn't get the job done. Granted, he was much younger. Maybe he would develop into a better player.
I think he came like 85, 86. He came like right after Jordan, but yeah.
Yeah, it was after Jordan, but he didn't draft Jordan. Right? Which is very important. He's a really interesting character because he comes from baseball, where he was a scout, and then just asked Jerry Reinsdorf. Jerry Reinsdorf also owned the baseball team he was a scout for. Yeah. And they just asked him, can I be GM? Now, back in the day, scouting was like the pinnacle.
Yeah.
That's what mattered.
Yeah.
So if you were a good scout, I guess that meant that you could be good at being a GM. Apparently, and I was asking around a bit yesterday, Krause was way ahead of his time in terms of analyzing talent. Now, here's the thing that people don't get. A GM's job is not to analyze superstars. Anybody can say that Giannis Antetokounmpo is amazing.
Yeah.
Anybody can say that Michael Jordan is amazing.
Yeah.
A GM skill is in drafting, so you see it before they have it, and role players. That's the skill of GM, is finding role players that fit with your superstars. Anybody can tell you Shaq is going to do well, Kobe's going to do well, Kawhi is going to do well.
Right.
How do you find Ron Harper?
Right.
How do you get a 20-point per game scorer before he comes to the Bulls?
Right.
And know he's going to fit in that system? How do you find Tony Kukoc? How do you find Pippen? How do you make the trade for Pippen? Do you know who we traded for Pippen?
No.
One of the greatest players in the history of the game, Scottie Pippen, was traded for a guy we don't fucking know. Right? Seeing that talent.
Yeah.
Right? So he had an undeniable ability to find talent. He was one of the first guys to get into analytics, things that people do now. Wingspan, hand size, shuttle drills, closing speed.
Right.
Not, you know what I mean? Like really getting into the almost like NFL type combine shit to truly analyze players and looking for an advantage anywhere he possibly could.
Right.
The problem is in what the documentary shows is ego.
Yes.
Now, here's the thing about ego. Ego is not a one-way street usually.
Yeah.
Ego is a pinball machine. And ego begets...
That's a bar, yo.
Ego begets
That's a bar.
Ego.
Right.
Right? So when you have one ego fighting against another, that's what causes the meltdown. One ego is fine. 3, 4, 5 egos? That's when shit starts to become troubling. And what we're looking at when we're looking at the Bulls is we're looking at a displacement of credit, right? And that's where people get upset. It's not just Jordan getting the credit. Krause can live with Jordan getting the credit. It's Phil getting credit, right? Krause is going, nobody would know who Phil Jackson was if I didn't find him. Nobody would know who Scottie Pippen was if I didn't trade for him. Maybe they would. Nobody would know who Tony Kukoc was if I didn't go get him. Nobody would know Dennis Rodman. Well, yes, they would, but nobody would have given Dennis Rodman another chance if I didn't come in there and do it, right? So he really did orchestrate this team. Phil's getting all the credit. Obviously, Jordan's getting the credit, but he's not getting credit. And when there's that displacement of ego, you got him coming out and you got him going, I want mine. The problem with Jerry Krause is that he'd never really experienced not having a Jordan. And at the end of the day, a Jordan is what makes shit move.
Yeah, you are nothing without the Jordan.
Exactly. It's easy to have ego when you've only experienced good times, when you've always been with a Jordan. Because you start going, well, I built it with Jordan, I'll build it with someone else. I built this team, I could do it, right? When Phil and Jordan dig their heels or into the mud or whatever that fucking saying is and say, nah, we're doing this. This is our last dance. The only equal opposite reaction to that for Jerry Krause is, yeah, it is yours. I'm blowing this thing up and I'm going to redo it without you guys to prove I can do it. You don't think Bill Belichick's trying to win this year?
So, oh yeah.
Damn right he is.
The two biggest, and you can maybe argue the bigger problem is Reinsdorf. But Jerry Krause, anybody who says he's an idiot, he's not a good GM, I can dismiss that person.
Yeah.
Your fatal flaw is, like you said, ego. If I make millions of dollars and build an amazing mansion, cool, I did that. If I burn the motherfucker down and lose all my money, I'm an idiot.
Yes.
I don't care if I made the money and got the mansion. I don't care if Jerry Krause put the places in there.
Yes.
You have won 5 straight championships and you tell the coach, you're not coming back. I don't give a fuck if you go 82-0.
Yeah.
You're not coming back. This is your last year.
Yeah.
That is pure ego. You're burning the house down. And for that, you are the villain. 100%. You just are the villain. Everything is a battle of egos. Greatness, if you're not as great as Jordan or Phil, and a GM in particular, greatness is saying, okay, I will swallow my ego. Mm-hmm. And if you can't swallow your ego amidst greater people with bigger egos, that's not a talent, especially not for GM, who by nature is behind the scenes.
Is Phil and Jordan not great by that definition?